Greetings, Commanders. This is Kami-sama from the Supreme Mech Commander Dev Team, and this is the long-awaited patch 0.7. Alright, so let's get to it. There was a massive rework of the faction system. Primarily, we added one new one, which is the Lyrian Alliance, and we reworked the Snow Ravens and the Hell's Horses into the clan faction. Alright, so let's start off with the Federated Sons as far as the main differences here. So all of the units, about 99% of them, got their textures reworked. For the mechs, we added the Argus, which is this guy over here. May remember him from the Mech Warriors 4 series. I also redid the Centurion model to kind of reflect the new art style that the Battletech franchise is going with. And that there were some mechs removed from the Fed Sons, such as the Hollander 2, which is primarily a Lyrian mech, and the Sunder. Fortunately, while I was reworking a lot of the textures, I ran into a lot of issues with him, as well as coding, so he was removed from the lineup. For the mechs, or I'm sorry, for the vehicles, there were two new vehicles added in. The Von Luckner VNL K100, which is the Royal Von Luckner with the two AC-20s and SRM-6. Also the Pike support tank, which mounts two AC-2 or three AC-2s and then SRM or two SRM-2s. There were some vehicles removed. The regular Von Luckner, the Rommel, and Gutier. Everything pretty much is still the same with these guys. For the Arrow, there was also a good amount of rework done here for the Fed Sons. The Stingray one's removed, but then we got the Comet conventional strike fighter added in. The Meteor, which is a heavy strike fighter, heavy conventional strike fighter. They both carry high explosive bombs, depending on their payload capacity. Their battle volume was adjusted to compensate for the additional capabilities of those bombs. Let's see. They also, the Fed Sons, they get a new naval vessel, which is the Monitor, which is pretty effective at naval combat. So let's move over to the Lyrian Alliance. There's a good amount of mechs were already present in the game, so they were just retextured for these guys. But then I also added a good amount of new ones. So the Stiletto is their primary recon mech. You may remember him from Mech Commander Desperate Measures. He's an intermediate mech sensor. The Hunchback, 4G, iconic mech. So added the Emperor, which is a close range brawler. The Fafnir, which is a beast. It's two heavy dust rifles. And then long range salamander, 3 LRM-15s. Something you may notice is we added jump jets to jump capable mechs, which kind of works with the teleporting mechanic that Supreme Commander has in it. Sure, this guy. Oh, there you go. So a lot of things here and there. For their vehicles, they have I added the pattern, which is pretty much a Rommel rework, and a pattern Ultra, which has an Ultra AC-10. They also have the Goodyear, which the Fed sounds got removed. And as far as flavor-wise, the Lyrians, they're more heavy and assault mech oriented. Their vehicles are much more heavier. They're liking any type of good scout vehicles, or hover vehicles, that is. For the Air Force, or the Aero, they got a couple of Tech 2 Aero units, which is the Sidlitz, which is it's a light interceptor, the medium pulse lasers, and the Estrom, which is a more of a heavier Aero. I also have a couple of conventional fighters, the Owl, there's 2 variants of it, and then the Sandler medium strike fighter, all carrying HE bombs. Okay, so they also got the Monitor patrol craft, similar as the Pheasant got it. For the Kayans, they got a good amount of iconic mechs, such as the Timberwolf, sporting the Snow Raven camo. That's Timberwolf Prime, that is. You also had the Mad Dog Prime, and then the Mad Doggy, which is the Hell's Horses variant, having 2 Hag 30s. And then the iconic Warhawk Prime. Vehicles, there's really nothing new with them other than just the updated camo. There is a change to the Snow Raven Oro, which is more of an elite variant, so it's much more expensive but has way better accuracy than the Hell's Horses variant. As far as the air units, they actually got 2 units now for their air forces. They got the Vizikov B, which is a great interceptor, and the Kurlitz B, which is a assault class, or heavy class, however you categorize it, air only fighter. A ton of weapons, very expensive, hard to kill. So other than these changes, the elite dropship, to get the units working, or the factions working, there's 3 upgrades, 1 for each faction. We removed the Sun Ravens and the Hell's Horses and just merged them to the clans tech force. Buildings. So all the buildings got their textures reworked. There are a couple of new buildings. As far as the old ones, just look at the mech factories for each faction. We added a new model for the air factory to produce aero units, and then the dropships are now produced in a unique Tech 2 dropship factory. For turrets, the Hemisphere factions, Valerians and Davians, they got a new Gauss rifle turret, which is a long-range sniper turret. And the clans received 3 of their own turrets, a long-range dual ERPPC turret, a dual LBX-5 turret, which is for anti-air, and the point defense 6 medium pulse laser turret. So there were a lot of changes as far as the gameplay. Right now, all the units can fire on air targets, as well as air units being able to strafe ground targets in their ground strike missions. This really helps out when playing against the regular factions of Supreme Commander. That was one of the biggest issues before, where eventually you were overpowered by air units and didn't have enough anti-air to fight them off. Another thing, aero units had their speeds and maneuverability adjusted to reflect the maximum thrust ratios that they have from Battletech. A lot of light units are more maneuverable, while heavy units are more sluggish, while they try to maintain the same amount of speed as the lighter units. I may have noticed, but all the units, they have their own unique little icon in the UI, as well as an updated description of what weapons they have, how long they can fire as far as their ranges, and the weight class of the specific unit. I want to give a big thanks to the Mech community, as they were really helpful in this aspect as far as the icons. Also, all the radar ranges, BAP, ECM, were increased in proportion to the regular weapons of Battletech and the Mech Commander range values. The details on that will be available in the patch notes. Also, factories, they get their build rates increased, so they produce units way faster, anywhere between 2 to 4 times. Oh, and construction units, yeah, like the GFTs, they also build things faster as well. The generators were also updated here as far as texture and their functionality. The Tech 1, which is now the auxiliary power generator, has a much higher production or energy generation rate. It also takes less to produce this building. The Tech Q2 unit also got a slight increase in its generation rate, but at the same time, for balance, had its cost increase for production. So as far as anything else, I think that covers the patch here. If you guys have any questions, do comment. I really appreciate your support. I recently finished school, so I most likely may not be continuing this project, as I'm a 3D artist, so I'll probably be working in a private studio on games. But if anything comes up, I'll let you guys know. Thanks for the support, and hope you guys enjoy this. Over and out.